I never thought I'd thank my workplace bully for changing my life. It sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Sometimes the most unexpected events can lead to the most profound changes. Looking back, that toxic period was the catalyst for something incredible. It was a time filled with stress and anxiety, but it also pushed me to my limits and beyond. It all started with a seemingly harmless email, just a few lines that would set off a chain reaction. Just a friendly reminder to prioritize Project X. We wouldn't want any delays. Simple words, but the tone, the timing, the unnecessary CC to the entire department, it reeked of passive aggression. It was a clear message meant to undermine me. This wasn't the first time my boss, let's call her Brenda, had used these tactics. She had a knack for making me feel small and insignificant. But something about that email struck a nerve. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. I felt a surge of anger followed by a wave of helplessness. I was at my breaking point. The constant belittling, the impossible deadlines, the public humiliations. It was all taking its toll. I was mentally and physically drained. I was exhausted, demoralized, and starting to question my own sanity. Was I really as incompetent as she made me feel? That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with thoughts of what I could have done differently. I knew I couldn't go on like this, but what could I do? I felt trapped in a never-ending cycle of stress and self-doubt. I was trapped, or so I thought. Little did I know that email would be the spark that ignited a fire within me, leading to a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Brenda was a master manipulator. She had a way of making you feel like you were always one step behind, always scrambling to catch up. She'd assign tasks with vague instructions, then publicly berate me for not meeting her expectations. It was a never-ending cycle of confusion and humiliation. Deadlines were fluid, always shifting to keep me off balance. One moment, a project was due next week. The next, it was due tomorrow. Team meetings were her stage, where she'd subtly undermine my contributions and highlight any minor errors. It was like she thrived on making me look incompetent. The worst part was the gaslighting. She'd twist reality, making me question my own experiences and memories. I'd bring up concerns only to be met with, "You're being too sensitive," or "I'm just trying to help you improve." It was infuriating and disorienting. Over time, I started doubting myself. Was I being too sensitive? Was I the problem? These questions haunted me day and night. This self-doubt chipped away at my confidence, leaving me feeling small and insignificant. I felt like a shadow of my former self. Work became a minefield. I was constantly on edge, anticipating the next attack. Every interaction felt like a potential trap. My personal life suffered. I withdrew from friends and family, too ashamed to admit what I was going through. The isolation was suffocating. The stress manifested physically, with insomnia, headaches, and a constant knot in my stomach. I was exhausted, both mentally and physically. I was drowning in a toxic swamp, and I didn't know how to escape. It felt like there was no way out, no light at the end of the tunnel. The insidious thing about gaslighting is its subtlety. It's a slow burn, a gradual erosion of your reality. Brenda was a master at it. She'd twist my words, deny conversations, and even invent scenarios to make me question my memory and judgment. "Don't you remember you agreed to have that report finished by today?" she'd say with a smirk, knowing full well the deadline was never discussed. Or, "I told you to focus on the Smith account. Why are you wasting time on this?" When in fact, she'd explicitly asked me to prioritize the other project. These weren't just misunderstandings. They were calculated attempts to undermine my credibility and make me doubt my own sanity. It was incredibly isolating. I felt like I was going crazy. Who would believe me? It was my word against hers, and she was the boss. I stayed silent for too long. I told myself it wasn't a big deal, that I could handle it. I didn't want to be labeled as difficult or unable to cope. I feared retaliation, worried that speaking up would jeopardize my job. So I suffered in silence, hoping things would magically get better. They didn't. In fact, the bullying escalated. My work performance suffered, and I was constantly on edge. My health deteriorated, both mentally and physically. The stress was taking its toll, and I was starting to realize the true cost of my silence. It wasn't just my career that was suffering, it was my well-being. I was exhausted, anxious, and deeply unhappy. I knew I couldn't continue like this, but breaking free felt impossible. I was trapped in a cycle of abuse, too scared to speak up, too ashamed to ask for help. Section 5. Finding my voice. The turning point came unexpectedly. One afternoon, after another public dressing down, I broke down in the restroom. As tears streamed down my face, I realized I couldn't keep living like this. I deserved better. I deserved respect. That's when I decided to take back my power. I started documenting everything, the emails, the incidents, the witnesses. I reached out to HR, prepared to share my story. I also sought support from a therapist who helped me understand the dynamics of workplace bullying and rebuild my shattered self-esteem. Finding my voice wasn't easy. I was terrified of the repercussions, but I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. I had to fight for myself, for my well-being, for my future. Section 6. From bullied to empowered. The process was arduous but empowering. Sharing my story with HR was liberating. They listened with empathy and took my concerns seriously. The investigation that followed revealed a pattern of abusive behavior by Brenda, and she was eventually let go. Leaving that toxic environment was like a weight lifting off my shoulders. I felt a renewed sense of purpose and self-worth. I realized that what happened wasn't my fault. I was a victim of a bully, and I had the strength to overcome it. More importantly, the experience ignited a passion within me. I became an advocate for workplace mental health, sharing my story to raise awareness and support others going through similar situations. I realized that my pain could be a source of strength, not just for myself, but for others as well. Section 7. The unexpected blessing. Leaving that job was the best career move I ever made. It was a decision that came with a mix of fear and excitement, but ultimately it was a step towards a brighter future. Freed from the shackles of toxicity, I rediscovered my passion for my work. I found joy in the little things again, like brainstorming new ideas and collaborating with like-minded individuals. I took a leap of faith and launched my own business, something I'd always dreamed of but never had the courage to pursue. It was a challenging journey, but every obstacle was a learning experience. My experience with Brenda, while horrific at the time, had an unexpected silver lining. It pushed me to grow in ways I never imagined and to value my own well-being above all. It taught me invaluable lessons about resilience, self-respect, and the importance of advocating for myself. I learned to stand up for my values and to never settle for less than I deserved. It also fueled my entrepreneurial spirit, pushing me to create a work environment where respect, empathy, and support are paramount. I wanted to build a place where everyone felt valued and heard. My business thrived, fueled by my passion and the lessons learned from my past. Each success was a testament to the hard work and dedication I poured into my dream. I made it my mission to create a company culture that was the antithesis of everything I experienced under Brenda's reign. A place where people could thrive without fear or intimidation. A place where open communication, mutual respect, and work-life balance were not just buzzwords, but core values. It was a dream realized, and it all started with that unexpected blessing. Section 8. A new chapter. Looking back, I'm filled with a mix of emotions, anger at what I endured, gratitude for how far I've come, and a sense of peace knowing I turned my pain into purpose. The experience taught me that strength can emerge from the darkest of places, and that sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as our biggest challenges. If you're facing a similar situation, please know you're not alone. Reach out for help, whether it's HR, a therapist, or a trusted friend or family member. Your voice matters, and you deserve to work in an environment where you feel safe, respected, and valued. Remember, the darkest nights produce the brightest stars. Your breakthrough is coming.